Here are 3 problems that review the information that was presented in the points, lines, and planes video. You may pause the video while you attempt the problems and resume the video when you're ready to hear the answers. Let's review the answers. The directions state use geometric notation to represent each of the following 2 different ways. In number 1, a line is presented and 3 points contained by the line are located and identified. To designate the line, we can use 2 points contained by the line. We can represent that line as line LE, line EL, line EG, line GE, line LG, and line GL. What we would not do, however, is use the 3 points. That is not proper geometric notation. In number 2, a line is presented. 1 point that is contained by the line is located and identified. There's also a lowercase r to the right of the line. That lowercase r designates the line, so we can designate the line as line R. Since the r is not a point, we cannot use the r with point J to designate the line, so that is not proper geometric notation. Additionally, we could not refer to that line as the R with the line symbol above it. That is not proper geometric notation. Instead, what we would need to do is locate and identify another point contained by that line R. Now we have 2 points that are contained by that line, and that would enable us to designate this line as line JK or line KJ. In number 3, notice a line is presented and there's a lowercase b to the right of the line. That lowercase b can be used to designate that line as line B. There are no points identified and located that are contained by line B. Therefore, we need to identify and locate 2 points. We can identify this point as L and this point as M, and we can now designate this line as line LM or line ML. Here are 2 more problems that review the information that was presented in the points, lines, and planes video. You may pause the video while you attempt the problems and resume the video when you're ready to hear the answers. Let's review the answers. The directions ask us to use geometric notation to represent each of the following 2 different ways. In number 4, a plane is presented. Notice that the N does not have a dot next to it. That indicates that it is not a point. Instead, it can be used to designate the plane. So this plane can be designated as plane N. Notice that the D has a dot next to it, the F has a dot next to it, and the H has a dot next to it. That indicates that D, F, and H are points. Also, notice that D, F, and H are non-collinear points, meaning they cannot be contained by the same line. Therefore, these points may be used to designate the plane. The plane could be designated as plane DFH, plane FHD, plane HDF, plane HFD, plane DHF, or plane FDH. What we would not do, however, is use the N and 2 of those points to designate the plane. For example, that is not proper geometric notation because the N is not a point and D and F are points. For the same reason, that is not proper geometric notation, nor is that proper geometric notation. In number 5, a plane is presented. Notice that the W does not have a dot next to it. That indicates that it is not a point. Instead, it can be used to designate the plane. Notice that only 2 points that are contained by the plane have been located and identified, and recall that 3 non-collinear points are needed to designate the plane. Therefore, a 3rd point must be located and identified. Remember that this point cannot be collinear with S and T. We can now designate this plane using those 3 points, S, T, and U. We can designate the plane as plane TUS, plane SUT, plane UST, plane UTS, and plane TSU. Why do the 3 points that are used to designate a plane need to be non-collinear points? Notice that points A, B, and C are collinear. The green plane contains points A, B, and C. The red plane contains points A, B, and C. And the blue plane contains points A, B, and C. Using 3 collinear points to attempt to designate a plane, would present confusion because there is more than one plane which contains those three collinear points. Using three non-collinear points to designate a plane will avoid that confusion because three non-collinear points can be contained by only one plane. For example, let us locate and identify point D. Points A, B, and D are non-collinear points. And only the green plane contains points A, B, and D. Therefore, representing the green plane as plane ABD will not confuse it with the red plane or the blue plane. The definition of coplanar is contained by the same plane. Recall the geometric definition of a plane. A plane is defined as a flat surface that extends in all directions without end. It has no thickness. Q, U, R, and M can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, Q, U, R, and M are coplanar points. Q, U, T, and P can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, Q, U, T, and P are coplanar points. Q, U, T, and M cannot be contained by a flat surface. Instead, the surface would have to bend so that it could contain M. Therefore, Q, U, T, and M are not coplanar points. Q, U, T, and M are non-coplanar points. Here are two examples. The directions state determine whether the points are coplanar or non-coplanar. If the points are coplanar, then sketch the plane that contains the points on the corresponding diagram. P, E, L, and B can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, P, E, L, and B are coplanar points. R, U, B, and Y can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, R, U, B, and Y are coplanar points. In example C, V, I, E, and U cannot be contained by a flat surface. The surface would have to bend so that it could contain U. Therefore, V, I, E, and U are non-coplanar points. In example D, B, U, and A can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, B, U, and A are coplanar points. In example E, U, I, and J can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, U, I, and J are coplanar points. In example F, N, L, and R can be contained by a flat surface. Therefore, N, L, and R are coplanar points. In example G, A, B, C, and D can be contained by a flat surface. Since a plane extends in all directions without end, this plane can be shown to extend to include C. Therefore, A, B, C, and D are coplanar points. In example H, B, C, E, and F cannot be contained by a flat surface. C, E, and F can be contained by a flat surface, but that surface would have to bend in order to contain B. Therefore, C, E, F, and B are non-coplanar points. This concludes this video. Thanks for watching.